My name is Keola Douglas, and I'm one of the math instructors here at AdmissionSquad for the summer boot program, and I've been working with AdmissionSquad for about a year and a half, 2 years. The students that we have here for this program are from varied backgrounds. We have a lot of immigrant students with Caribbean background or African background. But for the most part, what I noticed is that the students, they weren't well informed with what was needed as when it came to the preparation for the SHSAT. So we are kind of bridging that gap so they'll be better able to take the exam. I really love math and I enjoy teaching it. Growing up, math was never my favorite subject. But as I got older, I, grow to love it, and I would love to use my experience to bridge that gap with most students who don't necessarily have that relationship or love for math. The next reason is that I'm able to share information and help the student, help bridging that gap. And I love sharing information. If I know something, I'm always willing to let you know. So this gives me the opportunity to pour my knowledge into the next generation. Apart from that, being from a minority background, I know how it is when you're at a disadvantage. And by giving the students the equipment that they need to go forward, it was okay, why not? This is a really good strategy or a mission, and I want to be a part of it. Math is a subject where you just can't read your notes and learn the concept. You actually need to practice it. And by practicing it, you actually learn more of it. So I like the part with going home and practice. I would just go to school, take the notes, and that would be the end of it. But when I realized that I need to practice it just as much as I would read it, that's when I started to really love it. What I noticed is that most of the content that is necessary to ace the SHSAT, the students are lacking. So what I do to try to challenge the students is to introduce every topic as if it's new. So this is the first time they're seeing the material. And then as we take baby steps, at some point we started taking, within the same lesson, we would take these big giant steps. And it would push them to use the little knowledge that they know, that they just learned from just being exposed to the topic, to put it and apply it in more complicated sense that they would usually see on the SHSAT. Well, the difference with our program and the program you will see on an average school day or within a regular school is that, we meet every day, Monday to Thursday, and it's from 8:30 to 11:30, the math section. And the first 30 minutes to 40 minutes of the day is spent reviewing work that was done the next day that the students probably would have questions about, followed by the new lesson, the lesson that is scheduled to be taught that day. From there, the last hour of the class is spent reviewing or doing practice problems that are based on the concepts that were taught that day. So the students have a better feel for what is being taught and are more able to understand the content as opposed to just reading and writing what the material. They're able to practice it. And as we know, math is all about practicing. My ultimate goal is to become a medical doctor. And on the road to becoming a medical doctor, I see a lot of practice and work and hours that go into actually being able to be considered a competitive applicant for any medical school within the United States. With that, I know how easy it is to be ruled out from admissions for a school based on your grade for a particular subject or not having the required GPA. Knowing that, I push my students to go above and beyond, to make sure that they know everything that they need to know that is going to give them the fighting chance to get into whatever school they want to go. For example, if one of my students' goal is to get into Bronx Science High, that's good. That is a really good specialized high school. However, we would push them to aim for the highest, which would be Stuyvesant, knowing that if they're able to get into Stuyvesant, they should be able to get into any of the specialized high school.
I'm Maya Joseph. I'm 16. I go to Packer Collegiate Institute currently. I'm in the 10th grade, going to 11th, and I was part of the 2015 cohort at AdmissionSquad, and right now I'm working as an intern. I started preparing for the SHSAT a few months in advance, about in July. So I had 4 months in total. It was pretty stressful because it was a very short time frame to get all the material together. I don't feel like my colleagues were as aware of the exam. Only a few parents found out about it beforehand, and then they tried to get their kids into programs or getting them textbooks to work on it. But for the most part, I was one of the few kids who actually started to prepare to take the SHSAT. Preparing for the SHSAT with AdmissionSquad was, it was thorough, I would say. With the amount of time that we had, the 4 months, and all the material that was left to learn, it was done very well. It was always organized, cohesive. I knew 2 schools I was going to, 2 private schools had already messaged me back telling me I was accepted, and I was waiting for my 2 public school admissions. So I got into Brooklyn Tech, and I got into Bard, and I remember being extremely excited about Bard specifically because it was one of the top schools in my mind. And then Brooklyn Tech, I was happy. I was proud of myself for having gotten in. I was aiming for Stuyvesant, but I was happy that I was able to, even though I put them as my second choice, I still got in and had that specialized high school option, a good public high school. Ultimately, I ended up choosing a private school because I'd been going to public school my whole life, and I already knew what the system, how it worked, the class size and everything. So I knew for my last 4 years in school, well, not my last 4 years, but the final 4 years in required school, I wanted to have a bit of a different experience to know how I work in different environments when I move on and go into choose a college or choose a career path. The Bard admission was pretty straightforward. They take your grades, and then you take a test that tests your math skills and your English skills. So it's a multiple choice test for a few questions, and then there's a short essay that you have to write in, I think, a few paragraphs. And then after you take that test, they review it, they look at your grades and everything, and then they call certain students back for interviews. And for me personally, my grades were really good in middle school, especially in 8th grade. And I did very well on the test because of the SHSAT prep that also simultaneously prepared me for the Bard test. So when I got there, I had a very strong portfolio, and it wasn't even a question of do we want to accept her into our school? It was more so he asked me, like, what can he say to get me to accept Bard's offer? For my entire middle school career, I only got below a 90 the first semester of 6th grade. The rest of my grades were 90 and up, and they got higher as the years went on. So I might have had a 90 in math in 7th grade, but then I ended up with a 96 in 8th grade. And I took a lot of honors classes, which have an extra 5% weight onto them. So I ended up having a final GPA of 101, I think. I hope to go to Columbia University because it's in the city and it's a good school. And I want to do something on my own. I'd rather be an entrepreneur than work for a business. The field I'm aspiring to is STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. And I'm looking into it because a lot of times we kind of make a very direct cut between engineering and math and the arts, and we kind of separate engineering and math as this abstract concept, but their function is to serve society, and to serve society accurately and fully, you need to understand the emotional aspect of life and the artistic aspect of life. I decided to be a summer intern because for me the program was very beneficial, not even just from an academic standpoint, but also in terms of mentorship and learning about life and how to build a good career. So I knew it was an environment I wanted to come back to so I can learn more and also to give back to the benefits I was able to reap from my 4 months in boot camp. It's important to recognize the fact that it's a competition to get into these schools, and they take the top students no matter what. It's not just about your grades. So you have to, there's thousands of kids who are preparing months, years before. And if you're going to be able to actually compete with them, you need to have that background and a solid knowledge of the topics that are on the test. And because you're already starting so late, years after other students, the boot camp is a very quick and thorough way to be able to rise to the level of the other people you're competing against.
My name is Shaun Hooper, and I currently attend Lennox Academy, and I'm a part of the AdmissionSquad cohort of 2018. I started preparing for the SHSAT earlier this year in January, and I've been going ever since. My choice in high schools varied. I first wanted to go to Brooklyn Latin, but now I'm more leaning towards Stuyvesant. It's the top specialized high school in New York, and I want to go because I feel that I can do well enough to get into there. Workload is a lot, but at the same time, it's helpful. When I first started, I wasn't very strong in math and ELA as I am now. Like if you had to put a geometry problem or like an ELA passage with questions in front of me, I probably wouldn't have done well in the beginning, but I probably would do better now because this program has helped me to improve more on ELA and math.
My name is Shadrach, and I currently attend Empower Charter School, and I'm part of the AdmissionSquad cohort process. I started preparing for the specialized high school actually last year before this program with my sister. She has been helping me for like a long time now. My academic director told me about the program, and she told my mom, and we had to take a diagnostic test, in which I passed, so I got into this program. My parents are supportive. They push me to go above and beyond every single day. My mom asks me questions about what I have learned and everything that happened every day. And she pushes me to be the best I can actually be. And she gives me like these motivational speeches every day, which gets annoying, but it still helps. I have one in mind, and only one, Stuyvesant, which is the hardest to get into, but I feel like I could still get in. Stuyvesant has this computer science and basically a science program that I like to get into. It's been challenging, but once you get the concept, it comes naturally to you with the time management and everything. And with the new concepts coming with your way, it's not like you learn these things in school. So you learn new things that you never learned before, so it's kind of hard at first. Yeah, they should if they're up for the challenge and up to spend their time and their energy for this program. I've always not done anything in the summer, so this is one thing that took over my summer as one, and I always look towards the future, so this program would help me with the bright future that I always wanted. I want to go to MIT, and I plan to major in biochemistry and technology.
I'm Janelle. I go to Achievement First East New York Middle School, and I'm a part of the AdmissionSquad 2018 cohort. I started preparing for the specialized high school test last summer. I think it's important to attend a top high school because when you attend a top high school, you get into a good college, and then that'll set you up for the rest of your life. One top high school I'm considering is Nes+M. I'm considering this school because I really like technology, science, and math. The support I'm receiving at home to get ready for the SHSAT is my sister going over questions in the workbook with me to make sure I understand. And for the top high school, my sister and my parents they were reviewing my 7th grade work to make sure it was exceptional for me to get into one of the schools. AdmissionSquad helped me improve academically by me getting extreme math support, so when I go to school, I know about the topics and more. What makes this experience different than what I had before is that with the kids here, we help each other with the schoolwork, and we also have fun while doing it. The advice that I have for them is that they should review all of their stuff, make a portfolio, and just maintain their grades to above an 85 to make sure they have a good chance. What I think sets AdmissionSquad apart is that from other programs is that with AdmissionSquad, they give you a lot of homework, and even though it seems challenging, we still understand the topics that we receive, and the teachers and interns help us out with it. I don't feel like a lot of my friends are preparing for the high school admission test because most of my friends this summer are either on vacation or just going to a regular summer camp. I think they're not prioritizing this process because this process will mostly help you in the future, and my friends are more focused on having fun right now instead of later.
Hello, my name is Anaya Simmons. I go to the Dock Street School for STEAM Studies, and I am a part of AdmissionSquad. I want to go to a specialized high school because I feel like I would benefit from going to a specialized high school, especially since I don't really know what I want to be when I grow up, but I feel like a specialized high school would help me choose what career I should do. 2 top specialized high schools that I want to go to are Brooklyn Tech and LaGuardia. I want to go to Brooklyn Tech because I feel like it's a really diverse school, and I've been there a couple of times and I like it a lot. I like all the activities that they have there, and it seems like a really fun school that I could benefit from, especially if I want to be an architect when I grow up. And I want to go to LaGuardia because I'm also really into the arts. I love to dance and sing and draw, and LaGuardia is a high school where you can do all of that, and I think that's really cool, and that's why I want to go to either one of those 2 high schools. I started studying for the SHSAT when I was in 6th grade going to 7th grade this summer, 6th grade going to 7th grade. I studied with CAS Prep, but I didn't really feel like that program was fit for me. This summer, my mom put me in AdmissionSquad, and I like it so much. I feel like I'm learning a lot here, and I feel like with going to this program, I have a better chance of passing the SHSAT and going into the high school of my dream. I think that less children of color get into Stuyvesant because they don't have the tools to prepare for the SHSAT like other students might have. They might not be able to afford expensive programs, and that could be the main reason why they don't pass the test, because they don't have the resources to study for the test over the summer like I am fortunate to have. I think more students should have access to the test prep because it would higher their chances of getting or of passing the test. which is really good because they can have a steady path for their future. Most of my friends who go to my school are preparing for the SHSAT because my school really encourages their students to take the test and try to get into the best possible high schools. My parents are very supportive of me going to a specialized high school. They are always putting me into programs to better my reading and writing and math skills, and they have tried multiple different things.
Hi, my name is Crystal Ingram, and I go to PSI 66, and I'm one of the scholarship recipients of the AdmissionSquad cohort of 2018. I would like to go to either LaGuardia or either Stuyvesant because I would like to be an Olympian, a gymnastics Olympian, and I also wanted to go to UCLA for college. I wanted to go to LaGuardia because it's a performing arts school and they have the interests that I like, especially dance, gymnastics, and step. And I also wanted to go to Stuyvesant because I like math, but I don't like doing it a lot, but I also like doing it because I catch it on quick. So I also wanted to go there just like in case my first goal doesn't work, I have something I could go back on because I also like math and my dad likes math too. To prepare for the SHSATs, it's been stressful because we've just learned a few things and we're getting a lot of homework even though it's going to pay off soon. It's stressful because we have a whole time concern, but it's going to pay off because you have a better chance of going to a specialized high school than most kids because of this program that my peers got for free. My mom started talking to me about it in 6th grade, and I've been preparing since then because my cousins, they're 1 grade ahead of me, so I've also been preparing with them. And my older cousins who went to college already, they've been to specialized high school, and I wanted to follow in their footsteps. And my mom and my dad, they went to specialized high school, so I want to also follow in their footsteps to go to a specialized high school. Before AdmissionSquad, I went to Success Stories Learning Center, and it really helped me because it bumped up my ELA grade because I haven't been doing well in ELA in 3rd and 4th grade, and it helped me go through ELA because now I'm doing ELA fine, and I've been getting good grades in ELA since 6th grade. Some of them are, some of them aren't because it's summer break, so they wouldn't, but some of them are because they want to go ahead and they want to achieve the goals that they want to achieve. I haven't connected with any of them like close, but one of them I've liked so far was Amanda. Yesterday we were doing some ELA, and she really helped me to understand the questions I got wrong, and she really helped me to understand most of the stuff that I didn't get and why it's the other answer instead of my answer. My parents, especially, they believe in me because my mom and my dad, they didn't give up on this opportunity because I was supposed to be going somewhere with my siblings, but they didn't give up on this opportunity, and they wanted me to at least try to do my best in order to get into a specialized high school and get the prep so I could be ahead of most of my peers when I go back to school. I did at first, like the first 2 weeks, I didn't want to go when I found out that I did. I didn't want to go because I had a good summer planned with all my friends and my family. But then I finally did it, and they didn't leave yet, but they finally went to there, and I was glad that I didn't because now I understand why my mom and my dad didn't let me drop out, and how my mom and my dad, they told me you're not going to give up so quickly, and now that I'm actually into it, I understand why they didn't tell me to quit.
So my name is Ty Abrams, and I'm the president and CEO of AdmissionSquad. And this summer here at PS66, we are hosting an SHSAT summer boot camp where students have 22 intensive days of learning high-level, rigorous math and ELA material. So we've gotten a lot of complaints from the students because they are overwhelmed with a lot of the work, but we really let them know that, quite honestly, some of the material on the SHSAT is actually not taught in schools. Schools do an excellent job of laying the foundation in some cases, but the reality is there is a content gap where students do need to learn that material, and that's where our program comes in. So in the very beginning of our program, we introduced geometry concepts that students likely never saw before, and because of the short time frame, we had to do a lot of it in about 2 weeks. So students were freaking out, but we know for a fact that the work is going to pay off. The students are going to do well, and we're going to continue to spiral that material until they're at a place where they've achieved mastery. Right, so in the past, we've actually hosted our program solely on weekends, where students will still have their weekdays to enjoy. And while that model worked, we realized that a lot of times once we teach the content, the students quite often would lose at least half of it by the time they came back to class the next day. So we wanted to design a boot camp this year where students could come in one way and, of course, leave completely transformed. So as each day that they come, Monday through Thursday, we keep adding on material, and because of the close proximity of the classes, they're able to build on and retain a lot more content a lot faster. So we hope to see that at the end of 6 weeks, students will be completely operating at a much higher level, each person improving their score by at least 100 points. And of course, that would put all of these students in a position to get into one of the specialized high schools. Students, before coming in, it's hard to justify why you should give up your entire summer to focus on SHSAT prep. So quite a few of our students were a little upset, specifically the students who are new to our program. Students who had already been coming to our program every single weekend. They were kind of used to it. They were excited to be with their friends. They were excited to be in a highly motivated environment. But definitely the students new to AdmissionSquad, they were not used to the level of rigor that we brought to their academic experience. But we noticed that after a few weeks, students have started to bond with one another. They really do understand what it really takes to get into a specialized high school. They recognize the competitive advantage that they are going to have in relation to their peers. And of course, they are committed. And we really recognize that it takes a village to get these children ready. So parents have had to play a hands-on role in the home environment to ensure that students are able to make it through the boot camp. Well, due to the content gap, as we mentioned before, there is a significant content gap on the SHSAT. So if students do not receive outside of school support to actually close that content gap, they cannot perform exceptionally well on the SHSAT. The other piece is there are specific nuances to the exam. The exam is changing again in 2018 to include a significant increase in the reading comprehension questions. And for 2017, there was only nonfiction text. Now for 2018, there will be nonfiction, fiction, and as well as a poem. So students really needed some exposure to that new content, along with the geometry content that students have never seen before, and of course, really honing in on their algebra skills. As always, I have high hopes for our students. I expect 100% of our students to get into a top New York City high schools. And I do hope that, after all of our hard work, we will see at least 80% of our students getting into a specialized high school. But we do recognize that a lot of these students did start off a little bit behind in terms of their preparation process. Our students who have started off with the preparation process at least 6 months prior to the summer, they are in a much stronger position. So there is a cost barrier for quite a few people to join our program, and the reality is we do have overhead, we have a location, we have instructors, we have quite a bit of books and resources that we provide to our students, and not every family can actually afford the program. So what we did this year is we partnered with Empower Charter School, who actually sponsored quite a few of the talented students at the school. We've also provided scholarships to support 6 students right here at PS66 to be able to provide provide a full experience for these students who are most deserving. But no matter what, by the end of 7th grade, these students had to take a diagnostic exam in order to qualify. So we do believe that despite providing the scholarship or having students who come from families who can't afford it, the mix of students are definitely focused around folks who have the motivation, the ambition, and the focus to actually experience and be successful in the process. So this year we launched our summer internship program, and one of the visions of AdmissionSquad, specifically that I had quite a few years ago, is once students get into these top high schools, they should permit some time, whether it's during their summers or during the actual school year, to give back. So we had quite a few of our 2015 cohort reach out to myself and some of the other board members to ask to be one of our interns. So we actually have 7 summer interns with us. You know, one of the students is currently at Brooklyn Tech. We have a student at Packer Collegiate. We have quite a few students from Nest+M, and these students really are shining in their ability to give back. They are helping us to build out our blog. We have some of them helping to actually to plan out our game day at Brooklyn Bridge Park. They are demonstrating leadership. They've actually built out some of the materials that we're going to be providing the children with. So, you know, we've really allowed them to grow within the confines of this internship experience. They're getting the workforce readiness experience that they need. They're also paid. So this is a paid position that they will have to be able to put on their resume, and we do feel that they're growing leaps and bounds. Well, we do hope to be at 4 sites next year. We have quite a few offers on the table where we are going to be expanding to provide SHSAT prep, not just during the summer, but during the school year, because we recognize that the students who are performing exceptionally well at this stage in the game, which is actually 4 months before the exam, they started earlier. So, you know, it's kind of exhausting to keep having the time crunch of having to only have 2 or 3 months to squeeze all of this massive content into a child's brain. So we are in conversations with schools and other community-based organizations to roll out a full year program. Regarding Mayor de Blasio's plan to get rid of the SHSAT, I strongly believe that there are other approaches that we could focus on, specifically at the K-8 education level. It is clear that when students are given access to rigorous training, they actually can perform. So something's actually happening, whether it's in upper elementary school or in lower middle school, where students are not necessarily being challenged at a higher level. So there are other intervention strategies like providing more access to gifted and talented programs, whether it's in school or out of school, that could really make a huge difference in allowing more students who are underserved to have access to get into one of the specialized high schools. Our students are not just focused on specialized high schools. There are 37 out of 435 top high schools in the city. And of course, the 9 specialized high schools make the list, but there are other top high schools that our students are also targeting. We have schools like Manhattan Village Academy, we have Nest+M, Bard, Eleanor Roosevelt, Townsend Harris, that our students are very excited to pursue. So we do want to ensure that, you know, folks who are out there who are aspiring to attend one of the top New York City high schools, we get informed about what the admissions process looks like for each of the schools, and that our students are given the resources that they need to be able to compete.